All right, everyone. I am super excited about the guest that I have for you today. I'll give her a chance to introduce herself in a little bit, but I want to catch you a little bit off guard, Bijou. What I want to do is play an icebreaker to make us both comfortable.
Yeah,
So I'm going to ask you a
sure. I'm
series.
excited.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you a series of would you rather questions that are parenthood related, and you'll let me know which one you would rather do. So, the first one is would you rather change your baby's diaper or deal with them while they are crying in the car?
Change the diaper.
Change your diaper? Okay. Would you rather deal with a diaper blowout or try to get them to go to sleep?
Diaper blowout.
Diaper.
Crying now. Yes, my kids are older, so now crying gets to me more than it used to. So diaper
Okay.
blowout. I'll put you in the shower. It's okay.
Okay. Would you rather try to calm them down when they're inconsolable or stay up all night with them where you can't go to sleep?
Stay up.
Stay up.
Yes, ma'am.
That crying is really not.
Clearly, I have an issue with crying. I know, no. As I get older, I be like, what's that noise? So yes, I'll stay up.
Okay. How about would you try to get your baby into a car seat or give them a bath?
Ooh, give them a bath. They hate car seats sometimes. They
Yeah.
go like this, put their body straight. I remember.
Yep.
So bath.
Would you rather spend 30 minutes in the car with your baby crying? There's a crying again. Or take them to a doctor's appointment where they will get shots?
I'll take crying over them being, getting me a shot. That's painful. I don't want them to be in pain. Yeah.
Okay. Well, this next one is would you rather pay for daycare or have your mother in law move in with you?
That's a tricky one. Let's see. From my track record, I can get along with the mother-in-law. So, and I'm a financial advisor. I'm trying to keep all my money. So I'll suck up the mother-in-law,
Okay.
craziness, overspending my money. Yes, I'm
All
keeping all
right.
my coins.
Good answer. Would you rather watch kids' cartoons all day long or spend all day at the park with your baby?
I stand at the park. I like running and doing monkey stuff. So
Okay.
yeah, I'll be outside with them. Yeah.
Awesome. And the last one that I have for you is would you rather drink everything from a baby bottle for the rest of your life or wear a diaper for the rest of your life?
I would drink everything. Like, what a question. I know. Why would you who came up with this one? This
I
is
don't know.
terrible.
I have to throw something crazy in there, so that's what it came to mind.
That's hilarious. Yeah, so we'll take the baby bottle.
Awesome, awesome. So you'll have to try to get steak out of there and all the solid foods out of a baby bottle. Just
See, you didn't specify. Now I'm
you
reconsidering
see.
my life. I
Well,
think I'll
thank
stick to the
you.
bottle though. Though diaper is uncomfortable. You're
Yeah,
welcome. That was
for
fun.
sure. Well, thanks for humoring me. I wanted to just get you as comfortable as possible for the interview and myself as well. I'm always nervous for these things because, you know, it's hard putting yourself out there. So thank you for accepting the invite for the interview. I really appreciate it. And with that, I want to give you a chance to introduce yourself to my listeners.
Sure. So, hi everyone at the Jeune Maman Podcast. My name is Bijou, also known as Wolof of Wall Street. I am a mother of two, an 18-year-old and a 13-year-old. Uh, Originally from Senegal, grew up in the US. I am a financial coach, an author. I recently just released my first book called Wealthwise, Volume 1. And I am truly passionate about educating, my community as well as anyone who doesn't have exposure to financial literacy, which is why I started my consultancy firm, which is the Wolof of Wall Street, Inc. And yeah, that's how I got here by just wanting to share my expertise, the little that I do know, with everyone.
Okay, so I want to ask you. Well, first, thank you for that introduction. I think my guests will be able to learn a lot from you. I myself am already learning a lot from you. I'll talk about some work that she does that she's helping you with, and you guys can also get that same help. But I want to start off by asking, what exactly is financial literacy? We always hear it on social media, but what is financial
Mhm.
literacy?
So, in layman term, how I could give a brief definition of financial literacy, it's just having the knowledge, right, to understand financial concept, from budgeting to retirement savings to saving for various reasons. It's just having the knowledge to use those tools to your advantage to better your life. So, if considering someone financially literate is someone who is able to know that they must start saving for retirement early, or who have a budget and know what to put into it, right? Or know that they should have an emergency fund. So just when you gather all those various concepts, we can consider you as someone who's financially literate. So
Okay.
just the knowledge of how to handle anything related to your income.
Okay, got it. So do you think that this notion already exists within the Senegalese culture, or is is it a matter of formalizing it?
Um, to be quite honest, financial literacy doesn't exist in any culture.
Mm,
Even in America here, we're not taught how to budget in school. I went to school here. We're not taught how to save for retirement, nor are we taught how the concept of taxes. So it's not in any culture, because if you look at the broader spectrum and the system, quote unquote, it doesn't benefit, the system. It doesn't benefit the banks. It doesn't benefit even the government. They rather, that is a huge concept. So
mm,
it's not in any culture. It's not really. There are bits and pieces that some of us have been exposed to,
hmm.
but it's not in any culture. So definitely not in the Senegalese culture now.
Gotcha. Okay. I didn't
Hmm.
think about the fact that it doesn't benefit businesses and the government. That's a new thing for me to realize. Like,
Right.
the more people know, the more informed decisions they'll be able to make, and that doesn't work for them. That's interesting.
No. Yeah.
So, what steps can we
Absolutely.
take in this day and age to become more financially literate? And I'm talking more for, like, we always talk about your 20s are your times to mess up your credit, then your 30s are the time to fix it. How can we break from that and actually become more financially literate at an earlier age?
But start by unlearning those type of concepts,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because we are taught as a society that we are supposed to work till 65. So if you spend your 20s wasting it, you are so far behind, and you are going to work up to that 65 number, right? So
Mm-hmm.
just unlearning. And if I had like a reset button, I would be Bijou today, like when I was 15. Like having my first job, I will open my Roth IRA and contribute as much as I can. So the first step will be just knowing that, hey, who does this benefit, this concept?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I feel like I should spend money that I don't have by using credit cards, right? This is not helping me, because, like you said, it's messing up my credit. It's putting me in debt, which means now I am bound to work longer to pay that debt. So just cut off that mindset, and also start taking responsibility. Fine, just like we take responsibility for various aspects of our life, knowing that, hey, I should tighten up, I should learn these skills. Yes, it's not taught in schools. Yes, culturally, it's not something that's talked about, or but you as a human, as an adult, especially a young adult, your 20s, that's when you're usually done with school. That's when you have your first job. That's truly giving you income. Just being self-aware, open, start by having a budget, knowing what you're worth, what you can afford, what you have, where it's going. So that would be the first step,
Got it,
in my
got it. So
opinion.
you mentioned working up until 65. Do you think it's possible? I know it's possible, but based on your experience, do you think it's realistic if you have just a quote unquote normal job to retire before 65?
If it's just a regular 9 to 5, and you abide by these rules of just having a crazy car note, going out every weekend, or going out a few times a night to buy food, you are going to work until 65.
Mm,
But if you straighten up, you have your budget, you have your goals. Retirement is not an age, it's a number.
Mm.
So if you know that you need $30,000 to survive yearly, you time that by 25, that's the ideal retirement, amount. So it's
Okay.
not an age, it's you reaching this X amount that you set for yourself to be able to survive. So it is just a regular 9 to 5. I won't say it's impossible because some people do make 7 figures in their 9 to 5 or
Mm-hmm.
8 figures, right? So those people, if their lifestyle is not outrageous, they can easily, retire in their 40s. So it's
Okay.
not doable. But if it's just a regular average Joe, it's a little bit harder. You
Okay.
have to be very creative as far as income
Okay.
to
I
do it.
like that. That
So
is a number, not an age. We're usually not taught it like that. But it's helpful to think of it that way, especially when you think of multiple sources of income. Just how quickly can you get to that number, really?
exactly. That's how I view it. I view everything with just number wise, not time. Just even if I'm spending money, $100 on a Zara dress, I'm like, okay, based on how much I make an hour, how much is this dress costing me?
Mm,
Versus it's just $100 or it's on sale because they make it, all good because it's on sale. But okay, did I have to spend 4 hours at my job if I make $25?
mm,
Is this worth it? It's a time and amount concept versus just a price.
gotcha. That's a new way of thinking that a lot of us don't have because here we're just taught to just spend, spend, spend. Like you said, if you get a credit card, the goal is to spend it. But I actually learned from an a professor back in the day that he had a credit card for gum. Like he opened a credit card and he'll just buy gum on it and pay it off every month. And that was his way of maintaining his credit because he's I don't have to spend $1,000 just because that's the credit limit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's just like those secured credit cards, right?
Hmm.
Typically, when people start building their credits, because you have to have credit. It's a vicious circle. You have to have debt in order for you to have credit, and just like you have to have credit in order for you to have debt. So, just a secured credit card. I remember when I started building mine, I had two of them from Fifth Third Bank. I don't even think that bank is still, around. But one of them, I only used it for gas.
Hmm.
So I know I'm going to spend money on gas. I know I spend on average of $30 a week on gas. So I'll make sure that I'll use that card and just pay it off for that. So I like that concept from
Yeah,
your econ thing. Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. What are some of the barriers to being financially literate that you've seen?
Well, the major one is the one like I addressed earlier, the fact that there's no formal training. It's
Mm-hmm.
not taught in schools. We know how to do math, we know how to read, we know how, certain concepts because we are taught it in
Mm-hmm.
school. Most of our knowledge, from our schools. So the number one barrier is the system just hindering us from knowing this by not teaching it.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is the mindset. We have quotes like, hey, YOLO, right? You only live once. People use it typically. I see memes online, people being torn between you only live once, so go ahead or the paycheck to paycheck. Oh, I'll get paid again. So just taking a step back and tuning out the noise because and it's normal for us to see all these things
Mm-hmm.
because the lobbyists or the big thing behind it is the banks.
Yeah,
If you and I are not in debt, the bank is not making money.
that's true.
Interest rate is what's holding out the economy, right?
Yeah.
So just knowing, having this aha moment that hey, I have to do better
Mm-hmm.
and tune out the noise. So the number one barrier is the fact that we're not taught it. So going and taking responsibility, seeking knowledge,
Okay.
but that starts with the mindset by knowing that hey, this is not sustainable. I have to break this cycle.
I feel attacked because I've been a victim
Ah,
of that, where I'm like, self care and I deserve this.
yes. No, the new one that I'm dying is the soft life, right?
Yes.
Yeah, soft life meaning I'm spending all this money that I don't have because I
Yes.
have a line of credit, so it's not mine,
Yes.
to achieve this temporary, happiness.
Yeah.
That, yeah, that is temporary misery because
Yeah.
now you're bound to work to repay it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a mindset. We have to change it. I know for many times I've had to check myself. I used to have a purse addiction and I had to stop and be like, I have all these purses that I don't put anything in. You have one purse that I use for everything, and then all the other nice purses that I bought, they just sit there. So had to
Yes.
get out of that cycle of buying purses just because they look nice. If I'm not using them, it's a waste of
Right.
money. So it's a mindset.
Yes. It is. We all have it. Purses, mine is shoes. We all have our things. Yeah.
Okay,
But
so
my
now,
thing is though, you don't just break out those things because you want to be happy also. So it's
yeah,
okay to buy a purse, right? Just
mhm,
plan for buying the purse. Just plan
yeah,
for it. Like, okay, yes, I want this new,
mhm,
XYZ purse that's coming out. So every month I'll put money aside for it.
yeah, yeah.
Yes. Just don't be impulsive in your
It,
spending.
yeah,
Yeah.
it takes discipline, especially when you have a job where you know how much you're making. I'm going to speak well for a little bit here because my dad had something like he said something a couple of years ago, and I think I forget which like spiritual guide said it, but he said, "Got to what's the wesul hamlinge make like hamlinge chaque fin du mois."
No, Lola, I heard it and it changed my life when I heard that.
Yeah, it's like
I
to
agree with
know
that.
you're not going to
Yes.
go above this. That's crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
So
it's scary also
yeah.
because now this is what if you lose that, right? Parce que
Mm-hmm.
lolu moy yow sa life yep yang kay wék ci ben
Yeah.
affaire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the true
I heard
definition
that
of
before and
like,
it hit home.
yeah, it hit home for me too because it's a true definition. It's like one level up from paycheck to paycheck. It's like it's not even paycheck to paycheck anymore. It's just this paycheck is the only thing you know. Yeah,
That's it.
yeah,
That's it.
yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
good. So I want to ask you what steps can we take for those of us who have made financial mistakes in our younger years? Um, I
Mhm.
think part of the soft life is financial literacy. Is how do you become more comfortable in your later years of life? So how can we repair some of those mistakes that we made? How can we make tactical decisions to become more financially literate and become more financially stable? I know you mentioned having a budget is one.
Right. Yeah. So when you always start with having a budget because in order for you to just like when you go to the doctor, they will take your blood and do a diagnostic. You cannot get healed without knowing what's wrong with you.
Mm,
So first step is you write down what you need, right? What you have. Then most budgets even have somewhere for you to input your debt because those mistakes typically lead us to be indebted, right?
mm,
So then you have to look at also as an individual, your goals, right? Then you match your financial needs to your goals and see what aligns. Goals meaning, I know you just had a baby, right?
mhm,
So, okay, let's say your baby's in 18 years, you want to make sure that she doesn't depend on goals. I mean, loans, student loans, right? So
mhm,
you'll say, okay, I'm a mom. As a mom, I know one of my goals is for education savings for my daughter, right? So
mhm,
now this is what you want, right? So this is your vision, what aligns with your need, you and your husband as a family. Now you have your budget. You know that hey, before I can even do that, I have debt repayment because most of my paycheck is going on this 20% interest credit card. So
mhm.
now your first step is your budget. You know where you need happen. Then there's a discipline aspect, right? You can write down everything, have 50,000 vision board and budget, but you have to do a conscious decision to actually follow it. That's not something Bijou can teach you. That's not something Dave Ramsey can teach you.
Yeah,
That has to be in you to say, okay, in order for me to achieve my, this education savings account, I need funds to fund it, but most of my fund is going to debt repayment. So, okay, I have to be disciplined to tackle this step first, which is repaying the debt. And then I know I can start funding my goals and having this thing that aligns with my family.
okay.
So yeah, and we all made mistakes. I'm talking as someone who did it all. Like Jay-Z says, Jay-Z did that. So he doesn't want you guys to do this. This is Misha. I made all the I can go on and on about all the craziness that I made because I wasn't exposed to financial literacy. I
Mhm.
came here young, you hear about it, but you see credit cards and it's like, ooh, this is free money, right?
Yeah,
So, but don't beat yourself up. You can start today. It's never too late to do good. But
yeah,
just have it on paper, know where you need happen, and be disciplined.
gotcha.
Discipline, that's something that's in you. Yeah.
So how do you balance though? I heard you talk about, prioritizing debt repayment versus savings. How do you balance that when we talk about having limited funds, right? Is if you should there be a trade-off between if you can pay off 100% of your debt in 1 year and forego an emergency fund? Should you say then, oh, maybe I'll do 80% of my debt and have 20% in the emergency fund? Like, is there anything that can happen like that, or should you always prioritize debt repayment?
Well, so when we talk about debt repayment, some debt are actually good for you, right? Like the debt in your mortgage.
Yeah.
That's a good debt. A debt of something that's bringing you money. Let's say even a car payment. Let's say you have a car note, but your car is listed on Turo, so it's paying for itself. You see what I
Okay.
mean? So when we talk about debt repayment, it's usually consumer debt. That's the
Consumer debt.
double.
Okay.
Yes. So the credit card. So if someone has limited funds, like you mentioned, and they do want to create emergency fund, uh, just balance it. Call your credit card company, for instance. If someone has $10,000 in credit card debt, get creative. They have consolidation methods. Just chop up that card, put them all together, try to get a loan that's going to lower it. And then now you have maybe one payment, or you have called these credit card companies to negotiate a smaller interest rate. And then just take, even if it, 10% or whatever number it is. I don't want to give numbers because, it's based
Yeah.
on your situation. But save a little bit for a rainy day. You can do a lot of stuff, but, at the same time, you don't have to always, okay, I'm just going to focus on this and then do this. You can do all of it at the same time because emergencies do happen, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
just be organized. Like just take all the steps to have all the odds with you. So call the credit card company, try to get a loan to consolidate, and also put just a little bit if you're able to. Or
Hmm.
in this day and age, unless you're really, really, really old or don't have a lot of means, there's a lot of ways to make extra income.
Hmm.
Try to
Yeah.
find more money. Like honestly, like with the internet, with our phones, we can make so much money.
Yeah.
You have a gap of $500 a month. You have downtime on Saturdays instead of paying the FIFA or at
Yeah.
home watching YouTube videos. Go drive Uber. Get
Yeah.
creative to meet those
Absolutely.
goals. That's that discipline thing that's going to help you. And if you do it, Senegal, for like 1 year, keep to pay off your debt, and long term you're going to thank your future self because you sacrificed your Saturdays by driving Uber to be able to pay off that debt and
Hmm.
replenish your emergency fund if you use it for an emergency.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, make sacrifices. Mhm.
I think that that's a really good segue into kind of the next portion of the interview that I want to talk about, which is how to make those decisions as parents. In our culture, we don't do that, Bijou. We just live day by day, and yalla bahna,
Yes,
God is good, and yes, He
that's
is.
good.
But how can we be more conscious parents, more responsible parents, and not just bring the kids into the world,
Right.
but take care of the kids in the world?
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think we struggle with that, Yalla given goofy indi dinala like, which is true, right? Allah is the best of providers, right? But he also gave us intellect. Yalla basically. He gave us intellect and he expects us to use it. I can't say that, hey, mashallah, I want a big family of 10 kids, but right now I can't even afford myself as a human, right?
Yeah,
That's planning. I mean, there science is here to help us plan. So before you do get married, or before you do have that kids once you're married, what are you doing to make sure that when that baby is here, which is going to be a big transition, you're going to have less time. They deserve for a parent to be around to take care of them. Pa judlen like yóbbu to daycare within 6 weeks, like the normal way of doing things in the US. If you plan better, that's actually one concept that I like being being from two countries, right?
hmm
I see here often I've have clients that what they do is they get married, they put their income together. That's different from our teaching, right? Culturally and Islam and stuff. But if you're able to, or they have a plan out. So they're like, okay, so we are married at 25. We know we want to have a family, but we have this goal of, I know, we spend $40,000 a year. If we had a baby today, one of the parent ideally will stay home to care for that baby at least the first year, right?
Yeah.
Kids need, they need time, they need affection. Babies need their parents. That's just my vision. Everybody has their own. So we know we spend $40,000 a year. Right now, we both have income, right? And it's not gender specific, but in 5 years, when we do have a kid, ideally, one of the parents will stay home, which means now our income will be less. So now let's start planning for that year, right? Let's have some families have joint account. Let's have a savings account. Mohammed, it's for when we do have start a family, and we know we need 40,000 in 5 years with inflation. Let's say it'll be 50,000 that we would need to survive. Guess what they do? Every month, while they're getting to that the point, they're putting money in that savings for that kid that's not even here yet. That's how you're able to see suburban families. Usually, they have a stay-at-home parent in the beginning, at least the first few years, and that's commendable. I've always been like, oh, this is so cool. I mean, not both parents are out of the house.
Yeah.
Just like the COVID kid, you see how there's like I have a COVID niece. Mashallah, she's so smart.
Yeah.
But because she had all this attention, she had all these people around them. She is on another level. You remember those videos of those kids climbing those COVID crates?
Yes.
How do you think they're able to do all that? Remember how they was doing?
They're crazy.
It's because they had the time. So they're crazy, but they just blossomed because they had what they needed because people stayed home with them.
Yeah.
And Lola, I feel like every kid deserves that.
Absolutely.
Ñun ñoo leen fi indi war nañ leen mën a jox attention bi ñu soxla bi and then ñu leen di génnee. The daycare, you know what you're getting? You're paying money and you're getting a new disease every week.
Yeah.
I've been there.
That's true. That's very true. I think as you were talking, I just started putting together in my head, like financial literacy, it encompasses so many things. It's emotional wellness, it's mental health, it's like family stability, it's generational wealth. Like there's so much that goes into it when you plan your life better. And I'm learning gems here. This is like these are things that I'm going to apply in my own life because I didn't think about what you said about if you know in 5 years or in 4 years, inshallah, you want to have a baby, you plan for that now. We never do that. We always just kind of cross that bridge when we get there. And that it's a disservice to us. It's a disservice to the kids. And I think it's a disservice to the intellect that you mentioned that Allah gave us. Like we are smart, able beings, so we should put that into practice.
That's the difference between us and animals. Literally, that's what it says in the Quran. So why not just maximize? Like we need to stop limiting ourselves and viewing the religion in just, kare juli ki. No. Push a little harder. You'll see that everything we're taught, we can use it to our benefit.
Absolutely. So what's your take
yalla,
on...
Yalla Baisatol.
Yalla Baisatol. That's the motto for this episode. What's your take on life insurance?
So life insurance. So how do you want me to answer? As a financial professional or as a Senegalese who's Muslim?
Senegalese who's Muslim.
Yeah. So, I know there are a lot of school of teachings, right? But from my school of thought, life insurance is not allowed. So that's that. However, education savings account is allowed. Savings is buying assets for your children is allowed. All those things are parce que à la base life insurance is just so that if the worst happened, the unfortunate happened, your kids or whoever you're leaving behind is taken care of. So there are systems that are in place that you can do, as a parent to make sure that your kids are set.
Yeah.
It's just all about, just having those goals, setting them up. But I think the most important thing, just teaching them the tools, because you can give them all the money in the world. If they're not financially literate, guess what? They're going to blow it. So when it comes to life insurance, I feel like aside from investing for them, setting them up, the best insurance we can give our children is what we teach them. It's something that we can't take away suñu yàlla na yéex suñu fi jugee li nga leen jàngal ci diine moom ñoom moo ñuy ñaanal, and
Yeah.
then we'll be better off. They'll be better off in the deen. What we teach them as far as concept, since this is an episode more like talking about money, but teaching them how to gérer xaalis boobu ñu leen di bayal, that's better than anything. So I personally don't have insurance. Ooh, our baby is up.
You hear her? Yeah, she's
I
up.
do. I love it.
But I wanted to ask that question because I think it's relevant for this discussion. We're layering a lot of things on top of each other. So we're talking about money, we're talking about religion. And so I think it's important to bring that up because everybody is able to make the decision that works for them. But because we're talking about money and life insurance is an aspect of that future planning, I wanted to bring it up,
Right.
not to put you on the spot, but to get our listeners just thinking about what are the ways that we can learn just like fact wise, here is how you manage
Right.
money. But from a
Right.
spiritual perspective, too, how can we make sure we're making conscious decisions and not just
Right.
taking without analyzing?
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, there are different concepts too that are, I would say, Muslim friendly, like having a trust where you put all these assets and all these good things, and then setting goals. Like, okay, at 18, mungalali, you can touch this much of the money. When you graduate from college, you can have some of this money. All these are things that you're helping them and guiding them and setting goals, even for them. Lo xamante ni is going to push them to be better. Or I've seen trust that the family could not touch it until they were married home. It's any clause. You can set it
Yeah,
up however you want to. So all those are different things that we can look at as Muslim Senegalese people if we do
absolutely.
want to stay away from life insurance.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think for those of us who are in corporate America or just any job, really, talk to your HR department and find out what resources they have. You can talk to an
Yeah,
advisor who can look at, your paycheck and help you allocate it. They can look at your
yeah.
future planning and really help you with that. But if you don't have that, you have the Wolof of Wall Street. So I want to encourage my listeners
Hey,
to reach out to Bijou, even if you have that. I have that through my employer, and I'm still using
right,
Bijou because I think you can never have enough, especially if you're looking at it from the halal perspective. Having someone who understands our reality. I'll give an example. I went to therapy a couple of years ago and I was talking about, oh yeah, I work, I make this much and I help my family. And he was like, wait, you do what? I was like, yeah, I help my family. And he was like, why? And so just that little example of not having someone who understands your situation.
yeah,
We work, we make money, but we have a lot of like complexities that go into the money that we make, and it's not all
correct.
ours. So I think
No,
it's nice to work with someone who understands that, who comes from the multicultural background. And so I'm going to encourage all of my listeners to reach out to Bijou and get some financial advice. If you want to add anything to that, Bijou, feel free.
yeah, I mean, like you said, it's very important someone who can relate to you because there are certain things that we do that no one can understand.
Yeah.
It takes a Senegalese to understand certain concepts. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm here to, and I do this. This is truly my passion. Everybody be like, "Oh, I'm so passionate about this." I can talk about financial literacy and money all day. Te duma sonn. Mun naa
Yeah.
tontu 50,000 questions because you know what? This I think is coming from trauma because I've made those mistakes, and I I like sharing what I know, the little that I do know. It makes me feel better. That's how
Mhm.
but whatever I know, I will freely give it. So we're only strong as the community we have
Yeah.
around. So yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm here.
Well, thank you for that. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate the time today. I know that you're
Yeah.
busy and there's a lot going on. So thank you for coming and talking to us about financial literacy. I'll be sure to share your information through the episode description when I publish this episode. But thank you for the time.
Yeah, my pleasure, Ida. Thank you. You guys can reach me. I have my website is just wolof of wall street.com. And a lot of things that I talked about today is actually already in my book, The Wealth Wise. So if you
Yeah, make sure you
grab a
buy the
copy or
book.
ebook copy, yes, then a lot of gem. It's a memoir to my mom and my at the same time. It's actually there are a lot of concepts that are already in the book. So just go to the website and you'll be able to get a copy and hopefully learn more. Or reach out to me. I'm available online. I'll be
Yeah.
happy to help.
Well, thank you. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
You
Thank
too,
you.
Ida. Thank
All
you.
right.
Take
Take
care.
care.